I'm going to share with you 3 strategies when it comes to studying for the hand therapy exam that's going to save you hundreds of hours. My name is Huang. I'm an occupational therapist and certified hand therapist, and I help OTs and PTs study to become CHTs. Now, one of the hardest things, you can get your hours and get your years, but when it comes to becoming a certified hand therapist, you got to study, you got to put in that time. But there's a lot of wasted time as well. Let's be honest. How much time did you waste thinking about studying, being afraid of studying, and even while you're studying, not really studying? I don't know about you, but I did that for sure. I wasted a ton of time making myself feel like I'm studying, but I wasn't really doing shit. Let's be honest with ourselves, because really when you're studying to become a certified hand therapist and you take it seriously, what you're signaling to yourself is that you're betting on you and that you're taking yourself seriously. For the first 4 or 5 years in my career, I didn't take it seriously. I felt like I didn't take it seriously because maybe I didn't have the job, but I also didn't have the job because I wasn't taking myself seriously. All of the positions and the jobs that I had really did help make me a better therapist, but when I was ready to bet on myself and really focus, right? Really focus, then I did take all the actionable steps that made it possible. So I want to help you share, I want to help share with you what works so that you can also save yourself some time when it comes to studying. Obviously, number one is you just got to bet on yourself. What are the resources? What do you need to do? You know yourself better than I know you, right? Than anyone else knows you. So be honest. What do you actually need? Some people need some help, and that's okay. Don't make other people who don't need it make you feel bad. One thing I knew for sure when I was taking standardized exams was that I was somebody who needed some help. And back then there was no help for CHTs, no help for hand therapists to become certified hand therapists. So I didn't have that benefit, but other things in my life, I have taken the help when the resources were there, like just taking standardized exams to get into school. A clear example is like starting my business, not knowing what to do fully, I did the thing that I need to do so that I can get the help that was required, that I needed, so that I can be successful. So I just want to help you think about what you need for you to be successful, because it's just about betting on yourself. Who else would you bet on? Who else would you bet on? You have to bet on yourself, because no one's going to bet on you more than you. I had a therapist years ago when she was talking to me about studying to become a CEO. We got on a phone call and she was like, well, I don't know about your program, but it really, I've been thinking about it and my boss wants me to do it. I'm like, I'm sorry. If your boss wants you to do it, but you don't know if you want to do it, then there's no way that they're going to bet on you more than you're going to bet on you, because you're the one who has to study. You're the one who has to put the effort in. You're the one who has to put the time in. So nobody's going to bet on you more than you. So if you're ready to dive in, then bet on yourself. These are the 3 things I want you to consider. Chunk out your topics, schedule your time, and then create a supportive environment. So what do I mean by chunk out your topics? In the rehab of the hand, there is an index, and the way they put it together, like part 1 is anatomy and biomechanics, part 2 is evaluations or examination, part 3 is skin/soft tissue conditions, blah blah blah. So when you go through part 1, so part 1 is dense, okay? Anatomy and kinesiology of the hand, anatomy and kinesiology of the wrist, anatomy and biomechanics of the elbow, anatomy and kinesiology of the shoulder. What happens is you sit there and you think, I gotta go through my chapters in the order in which I see it. But I don't think that's true. I think that one of the best ways to save you time is to chunk it out. So if I am teaching inside my programs, right, and the way I wrote the practice questions is, what do we need to learn all about hands? And I've chunked it out and I've shared it before, but it's like hands, wrists, tendons, right? Hands, wrists, tendons, burns and wounds. Let's just go through those 4 things. Once you understand the anatomy, the kinematics, the kinesiology of the hand, then you want to start thinking and learning all the tests, all the evaluations, right? Anything that's related to hands. Now, obviously, this is the CHT, this is all about hands, right? But we don't have to all focus on the wrist, because the wrist sits underneath the hand and the wrist does impact the fingers, right? We don't have to think all about all the tendons, which is why I separated tendons from hands, because there's very specific tendon issues. But if you understand the bony structures and the way the hand is supposed to move, like the biomechanics of the hands, like for example, your natural attitude of your hand, when your wrist is down, your fingers, your MPs extend, and then when you go and bring your wrist all the way back, you go into like a light flex position. And the natural attitude of your IPs are always to kind of stay in a flex position. You're never like just straight, right? So they're always in a slight flex position. Just understanding that anatomy, just what normal is. Then when you start understanding fractures, dislocations of the fingers, it's not just P1, P2, P3, but then you think about metacarpals and then all the anatomy that comes into it, all the nerves that come into it. So as you start to study that, it's not that you're not understanding nerves, it's not that you're not understanding tendons, but you understand it in a way that makes sense for very specific problems of the hands. And then from there, you can dive into wrist. So the reason why I go into wrist next is because the metacarpals sit on top of the carpal bones. And so when you have more of a base metacarpal fracture instead of a head of metacarpal fractures, now we have to consider how the wrist is moving or not moving due to those. And then you have different wrist fractures that are carpal fractures. It could be distal radius ulnar fractures that then have an effect on the hand. But because you already understand a lot about what's going on with the hand, right? You already know the anatomy, you already know the muscles, the intrinsics, the extrinsics, blah, blah, blah. It makes for understanding how to do the therapy to those different problems a little bit easier, right? And then because you understand that, then you can go into ligaments. So when you chunk out the topics, one of the things I chunk out, especially within the wrist, is you have fractures and then you have dislocations or you have ligament issues. And because you understand that, then you understand more complex wrist types of problems, which is like the instability. Like everyone gets freaked out with the Vizzy and Dizzy and the, all that, the patterns of disassociation, okay, which is just a fancy word for you got a bunch of freaking instability and then all the stacks, all the blocks are just falling in different ways. So when you understand that and then you pair it up with the different surgeries, then you have to know all the surgeries. So you want to chunk out your topics so that you're not sitting there and you're just understanding all the anatomy, but you haven't yet applied it to anything. Let me know if that makes sense. It will save you so much time when it comes to studying. So chunk out your topics. It will make it less overwhelming. It will make it easier for you and you will waste less time. That's what I do inside the exam prep program. So I have an online program where you can come and you can dive in and it helps you to be successful in your studying. And it does exactly what I'm telling you, which is to chunk it out. So you can chunk it out on your own if you're trying to do it yourself, or if you're somebody who values getting the help so you can save time and so you don't, we don't get a medal for struggling, right? It saves you time, saves you in the struggle, and just helps you to become more successful. You'll be more successful than just trying to do anything on your own, right? So I'm going to include the links below. And when you come into that, learn more about that program, you'll get access to the book and to practice exams as well. So keep that in mind, but chunk out your topics. Now schedule out your time. If you're not using some kind of calendar, I use Google Calendar. Schedule out your time because anything that is not scheduled is not done. Your patients come to you because they're scheduled out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at X time. They're coming, right? So I want you to really consider that. Chunk out your, schedule your time, put it on a calendar, write it out. Is it in the morning? Is it in the afternoon? Is it on the weekends? Like nothing is off limits, right? Nothing's off limits. You can block it and then make sure that you stick to it. So one thing that I do is I block my time off for at least a minimum of 2 hours when I'm doing anything. When I'm doing videos, I block it. When I'm studying to teach, I block it. So I just did a live do questions with me session. I spent so much time ahead of time to prepare and to read questions and to really think about like what people are needing or nervous about, and then I selected the topics to think about and the questions to do. So I'm chunking out my time with the things that I'm doing, and I think that it would help you to chunk out your time, schedule it. So chunk out your time and schedule your time, put it on paper, put it on your calendar, have notifications on there. My calendar notifies me 10 minutes for anything that is on my schedule to remind me like, hey, you got to do some stuff. Like right now, I got to get going because I have a patient soon and my calendar is reminding me right now. Number 3 is to create a supportive environment. So what do I mean by creating a supportive environment? You can clean your shit around you so you're not working in a mess. 2, you can create an environment like from a people perspective. You know your people better than I know your people. Nobody knows your people more than you know your people. So there's going to be people who are little negative Nancy's, right? They're negative Nancy's. If you say anything to them, they're going to be like poo-pooing it. And their little words that poo-poo it can really have an effect on your mind and your mindset in terms of how you're perceiving what is possible for you and what's not possible for you. So, though I say it's very important to say things out loud, things that you want, it's also important to know who you're saying it to, because it's not necessarily helpful. And that's not just your friends, your coworkers and stuff like that, but it could be your family members. They mean well, but they don't want you to get hurt. And so they'll say things to you that maybe are not so helpful, but you think, you don't take it that way because they love you. So one of my students, she kept failing and she kept studying, and one of the times when we were talking, she, always spoke to her mom and always telling her mom what she was doing. And it had turned out that, hey, her mom was not that positive. Not because she didn't want her daughter to win, but she herself had a little bit more of the negative Nancy mindset and was like, kind of like in a way sabotaging it. Like, so I told her within a few weeks of the exam, like a month before the exam, stop talking to this person so much. Stop oversharing what you're doing or not doing, because sometimes people's negativities can affect you and they don't even mean it. Like her mother, obviously you love your kid, so you're not doing it on purpose, but there's a lot of things that you could be doing that's subconscious, like what they could be doing that's subconscious. So just kind of be careful of that environment. So it's not just your physical environment, it's your mental environment. It's like the people who are saying things to you that you might be taking a certain way that's not necessarily helpful. Creating a supportive environment can also just being like, what's going to help you focus? So one thing that I have found has really helped me to focus when I really need to focus are these patches. Actually, they're called super patches. They're focus patches. I actually use 2 different kinds. This is for something else. But focus patches, when I wear it, it really helps me focus. Like, it's kind of crazy. It's just a sticker, but it has really helped me focus. Another thing is our they're called Neuro Gum or Neuro Mints. I actually carry them, but I just don't have it right next to me to show you what it looks like. I don't chew gum because of my TMJ, but they make it in mint form. So anything to help me mentally focus is how I save myself time. I wish I had those things when I was studying. It was like brute force just doing it. But now I think there's a lot more like resources available. So for me, why not use those resources if they're available? So let me know if that helps, but stop wasting time. I know a lot of therapists, they think they're studying, but if you take your exam and you get a really low score, you might not be studying the way you think you're studying. And if you are studying and you are getting closer to your exam date, but you haven't covered all of the topics, it's because you're probably not, studying the way you need to study or managing your time well. So studying for it and saving time is about time management. So much of it is about time management. So if you need some help, my links are below. I gotta get running, but if you like this video and you want more help like this, leave me a comment, leave me a question, leave me a scenario, what's going on, and I can make another video to help you. All right, thanks.